What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Nifty Culture. You got Rob here, you got our man John, and we welcome Matt from the Block Ape Scissors group. How are you doing, Matt?
Really good, thanks. How are you guys?
We're doing fantastic, man. Thank you for taking the time to join us all the way from Australia. We know it's morning time over there.
It is. I'm not typically a morning person, but I had to get up for you guys, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here today. So thanks for having me.
Hey, Matt. Good morning.
Cheers. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And one of the things I knew right off the bat, Matt, was that killer hoodie and that killer hat that you're wearing, man. Tell us about that right off the bat, if you don't mind.
Oh, you've got to see this hoodie because it's like we just got them in. These are samples from the supplier, but this hoodie, I look like some kind of prize fighter. It is honestly the coolest thing I've ever bought.
Is that Tyson Fury we got?
Yeah, we got Tyson Fury over there.
Tyson Fury on?
Yeah.
And check it out. I don't know if you guys can see this.
So I put you, dude. So what's the QR code for there, Matt? That's badass.
So the QR code goes to the game, but for special people that have won certain competitions, etc., it actually takes them directly to their account as a referral mechanism. So these apply in different ways through different competitions and events. So if you are lucky enough to get a specific referral code, piece of merch, then that sets you up for earning potential in future.
That's badass. I like it.
Yeah, should be pretty cool.
That's badass. Rob, we're gonna have to really dive into that later because I'm curious if like a streamer playing your game can be wearing the merch and people are just picking off his barcode while he's streaming.
That's it. Yeah, it's right there. So, I mean, you should be able to scan that and it'll take you straight to the game, or at least the website rather. And so we can get a good shot of it. It's really hard when you're looking at the reverse camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not as coordinated as I remembered that I was. There we go. That's better.
There you go.
Badass. Yes. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. There's
I love
heaps
that
of cool things that you can do with QR codes, and then NFTs and blending that whole thing together is really exciting. There's not a lot of people doing that or exploring that space yet, so that's something we want to delve into a little bit later in terms of our trajectory of what we're looking to build out.
Have you seen that? Did you see that original hoodie by Overpriced?
I did, yes.
I think they only had like 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and they went for like 25 grand or 30 grand each.
Isn't that crazy? What happens when the fabric, starts to deteriorate?
I don't know. Do they send you a new one for 30 grand or 40 grand?
Yeah, you
send me another
think
one.
they just reprint it, right? Like, hopefully. But
yeah,
it's crazy some of the money being thrown around these days.
Is that merch available currently on your website? Is that merch coming out to the general public or for anyone who's in the ecosystem?
So it will. The hats are good to go. I'm really happy with the hats. They got a QR code at the back. Excuse my messy hair because I've had hair this morning. I love the hat. I'm super excited about the hat. That gets a tick. We'll be rolling them out immediately. The hoodie is really good. The arms are a little bit long. So, and the actual elasticity, I'm not sure if you can see that. Elasticity of this, that needs to be tightened up. So we're going to get that refined, and then, we'll roll the hoodies out. We also have shirts, but the material on the shirts are not quite as breathable as I'd like. So in the eastern eastern side of the planet, it's really starting to warm up. So people will be wearing the shirts. And they need to go back. We need different fabric for that, so we'll need more samples. But the hoodies and the hats, we're gonna start production on that, and people will start be able to order very, very soon.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
For those of you who are joining us, this is the Block Ape Scissors project. What I see it as, Matt, it's an NFT plus DeFi gamification ecosystem. This thing is.
That's it.
It's bigger than what I can understand at this time, which is why we have John here.
Well, there's a lot of things that go into it. Technical speaking, it can be quite complicated, but basically what you've talked about is 100% correct. And what we're doing, in short, is called GameFi. And what we're specifically doing for the GameFi, universe is we're building our goal is to build a gaming multiverse that connects to the NFT metaverse. So what we're building first and foremost is a suite of games and game modes that allow people with NFTs that are compliant with our platform and our model to utilize these NFTs in different ways. So they're not just pretty pictures and not just JPEGs that you buy and hold, you can't do anything with. You can apply them in game, you can apply them to the farms, and you can apply them throughout the ecosystem in different ways. And that kind of application model, I think, is necessary to drive NFTs to the next level of where they need to go. So we're really excited about it, and some of the work that's come out and the innovation is just amazing, because the original vision that I put together, we have all contributed to where we are now and what we're evolving towards. And it's just been amazing to see how our team has pulled this together to make it something way more amazing than I had imagined.
And they can find you at the website, blockapescissors.com. Also, they can jump on and find you on Twitter at apeblock on Twitter.
So Matt, you mentioned you had like an original vision versus where it's kind of migrated to now or evolved to. What was the original core idea that you had? Just curious.
That's a great question. So the original vision essentially was being able to just utilize people's rugged, sort of devalued meme coins, shit coins, altcoins, whatever you want to call them, and give them some utility. And then we would leverage that utility with NFTs and different ways into a gamification model with diverse reward mechanisms. So essentially, and that's our current white paper up there at the moment, and which goes into details about all of the different tournament modes that we had for the games, etc. And where we've arrived is we're providing a platform that easily onboards gaming companies and their various offerings into our ecosystem through a really, really easy to use SDK, and providing kind of like just a really easy way for them to get involved in play to earn type models and gamification beyond just regular sort of siloed game models, and integrate NFTs into that. So the NFTs and the play to earn, we have a single in-game currency called credits, which allows all of these different games to have their players connect into with the same, universal currency across our platform. And then the NFTs, with the way that they're coded, provided that their games and their APIs utilize that same type of standard, they can plug in, directly into these games with these NFTs. But the NFTs there's so much to talk about with this stuff, because some of the things that we're doing are so innovative that they don't exist anywhere else. I'm really genuinely and thoroughly proud of the innovations that the tech guys have been able to, craft up, because we wanted to do some cool stuff. I just didn't think it was going to be this cool, because no one's doing it yet somehow. But it's truly exciting with all of the potential that we have available, able to use the blockchain as a database and a targeted offering for these NFTs, which is what it's really all about.
So let me ask you a question. I'm envisioning, and I could be way off base here, but just listening to you talk, if I launched some NFT project, a PFP, for example, the typical, I got 10,000, you mint, and everybody blind bags, and they find out what they got, and the rarity scales and the usual. And I launched this thing, and my intention was strictly just to make a PFP. and then the community behind the PFP got excited. Let's say Bored Apes, for example. Their community's got a lot of developers in it. Now they could potentially, through various APIs and SDKs, tie into your platform and tie their Bored Ape PFP into your platform and utilize some of the games that you guys are building. Is that a fair assessment, or am I off here?
Look, these things can happen. Obviously, because the Bored Apes have been minted, some of the features and functionality would need to be leveraged off those attributes. In particular, the thing that's really important here, John, is the metadata. So okay. It's very challenging to target NFTs with metadata because it's not fixed, and it's very hard for smart contracts to compute, the correct parts of metadata because there's so much. Mm-hmm. Whereas what we're actually doing is we're hard coding the attributes in static data once they're minted through Chainlink VREP. So this is kind of down the technical side of things. But anyway, coming back to Bored Ape, yeah, there's definitely ways that they can be utilized, and there's definitely ways that they can be integrated. They could also potentially be utilized for specific farming mechanisms, competitions, events. So if Bored Apes were watching, we have a very similar brand model. We can probably have a discussion about what that might look like. But there's definitely ways and means for existing NFT projects to get in touch with us and work with us on our existing games. And we also have a DAO and a DAO treasury that's dedicated to develop, approve eligible games and game models for us to work with them to build them out. So we're dedicated, quite significant resources to look at different game models to build out. So let's say in this example that Bored Ape went, okay, you guys have a platform and a backend that works. You're working with studios, you have your own game developers, etc. We want to work with you on a Bored Ape puzzle game or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Then we would go through the motions with them and figure out how that looks like, how the gamification P2E model, how the NFTs fall into it, how the revenue splits work, and how it all comes together so that the people who are providing the NFTs and potentially the audience are making a really solid revenue from it and for the experience, and we as a provider will be making reasonable funds that then go back to our holders. So that's what it's all about.
Okay, so it sounds like it's possible to do with legacy NFTs, but maybe you guys moving forward have standards that if people want to use your platform, they need to be aware of to hard code those in to be able to leverage your ecosystem. Is that safe? Or,
yeah. So to get,
let me know if I'm off. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah. So to get the absolute best out of the potential that's available, there needs to be some certain standards that adhere to in order to be able to. The real key here is to be able to target NFTs with smart contracts. That's the real key, because as an example with the Gamester NFT set and collection that we're putting out, because of the way that they're being coded, we can actually target these NFTs with smart contracts. So as an example, every NFT holder and their NFT has an earring. We can use smart contracts to target those people and create a competition around that select group of NFT holders. You can't do this at the moment. Mm-hmm. So what this means is that we can essentially have two different types of rarities. We can have the mint-based VRF rarities, which once the full collection is out, you have your full mint, and these are the rarities based on the rarity chart and all that kind of stuff that everyone already understands. Mm-hmm. But then we have trend-based NFT models. So as we run competitions that target a very specific subset of those NFT owners, that then creates different market trends. Because if we're running a competition for a very specific NFT, that owner might decide, this is my moment. this NFT is much more valuable because it applies now in this way based on this competition. Now's my time to sell it because the demand for that NFT is then higher. So it creates kind of like you have a secondary market and a secondary rarity model that is trending, you know. So these things are very important.
Okay. So like, for example, again, it's probably a bad example because, you know, the code needs to be written in a certain way to be leveraged. But, you know, for example, there's punks that have hoodies, you know, that have their own following. And then there's like the cryptodes that just came out, and then some of them have hoodies. So you could have a target the hoodies across different NFT groups. Is that possible or no?
Yeah, look, it is. It is. There is some. I mean, obviously there are ways and means to do any of this stuff. What really comes down to is how much coding and how much work and how much gas is involved in any of the processes that you're trying to use. Certainly, with some of the more simplified models, it's easier. But there is definitely a ways and means to be able to utilize them in the same sort of fashion. It's probably just not as wonderful, or in some cases cheap to do it that way.
Cool. Okay,
So
well, go ahead, Rob.
So I can use some shit coins and convert them over to BAS to get into the ecosystem. Is that how it works? And then
100%.
Use those tokens to play games and like poker. I mean, rock, paper, scissors, and then earn additional tokens based on the playability. So you have the token side of it, Matt, and then you have the NFT side of it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, well, I'll take a bit of a journey. So our original vision was to be able to play the games directly with the shit coins without having any, actual in-game currency. We'll still do this at some point, but in order to facilitate that, obviously we need like 400 different gaming licenses, to offer the service to the world. So that's not exactly cheap. So we'll park that for now. And in order to use, the whole platform, basically you just need this in-game currency, which is credits. So you can use any BSC token at the moment and ETH at some point to convert that to your credits. And then you can get on and play any of these games through our various different tournament modes. And the first one that's actually going to be polished and made available in some, beta to production level will be the battle mode. So the battle mode is a head-to-head kind of process, and we'll have a variety of these different sort of types of the modes based on the head-to-head model. And the way to work is, so as with our NFT collection, the Gamesters, you can battle someone else that has that NFT, and you can actually put that NFT into the farm, and you can earn rewards using our WPY farm model. So what that is it's a weekly percentage yield model. It's only available to the Gamester NFT holders. And the really amazing part about this is you can actually delegate that privilege to battle on your behalf to other people. So if you happen to buy like 20 of these NFTs and you're interested in getting like a higher yield, you can delegate, but you don't want to actually, battle because it'd probably take quite a significant amount of time. You can delegate that privilege out, kind of like the Scholar idea that Axie has, but this is our champion model. So you can delegate that privilege out to other people to battle on your behalf. And between Tuesday and Saturday, they go through and they battle. And what actually happens is if they win, you get a higher percentage yield on your farms based on their activities. And those people who are battling for you, those champions, they make a cut of the profits in how that works. So it's a bit complicated in its initial introduction, but if you've got an NFT, you can battle someone else, and then you deposit into the farms. And as you're battling, you can increase your yield. If you don't want to do it, you can basically delegate it out to someone else, and they earn a cut of the profits.
Is there a native NFT for your platform? Are you guys launching your own?
Yeah, when are you doing that, Matt? When are you launching that NFT?
The collection.
Yeah.
So yeah, the games collection we're expecting that next week, like literally, and we'll be throwing significant amount of awareness about it. So it should be pretty cool. But in saying that, we do expect them to sell out pretty quick. But we do have 100 that are set aside from the 10K collection for competitions. So if they do happen to sell out in minutes, then we can run some specialized competitions for people that may have missed out, and so they'll be in our socials. So if people are wanting to look on that, just check the Twitter, come into Telegram, Discord, and keep an eye on it.
Where's that drop going to be at? On your website?
That's a good question. That is a question for Dan, because we are finalizing that part of it. To my understanding, it's code complete. We got an art update today. We just need the final layers, and yeah, so we're just waiting for. I think we're waiting for the audit to come back,
Okay.
and then but it's looking like next week. Hopefully early, if not late. But that's where I think we're going to arrive. I'm going to tentatively mark the 21st. You heard it here first, guys. The 21st.
21st.
And yeah, but it's exciting. And I'm really happy to see all this finally, come together. And I really can't wait to see how people bail it out and the whole ecosystem functions. Kind of. It's kind of like The Sims, how you just set everything up and then you just like let it go and you see, oh, so these guys are doing that, and it's going to be really interesting to see the human behavior and how it'll work. So it'll be fun.
What's that first game going to be? You said it's a battle game. Is that going to be coming out around that same time of October 21st? Yeah,
so it's a great question. So we have two modes that we're initially launching with. We have the battle mode, and we have the tournament mode. So the battle mode is head-to-head, and the tournaments are kind of like a battle royale, MODA type model. The first one we're focusing on sort of building out beyond its pre-alpha, alpha stage at the moment is the battle mode. And basically it's, if you want to have a look at the game itself, essentially you have a 3D environment that's set in the jungle with like a poker table. There it is. And there's 6 seats. And essentially, in the battle mode, there are 2 apes that come together and they go head to head. And so that's the poker format in terms of the look and feel. The mechanics themselves in terms of the movements are rock, paper, scissors. But there's also some power moves over the top, which create trump cards for more skill-based execution. So you can, if you've played the game a little bit, you get familiar with the feel, you can definitely win based on an edge model with the power moves if you save them up and apply them at the right times. So there's that. But the tournament model is more expanded because you have an elaborate point system that goes over the top of the movements. And there's also actions which are kind of very similar to your poker style betting that comes over the top. So the tournaments have a little bit more work to do with them to get them to the phase and the stage that it's more production value. But the battle mode should be ready, pretty close to being after we launch the collection. We just have to finish the Web3 integration and testing, and then we'll get to the point where we can actually have the WPY farms launch with the battle mode, and that whole routine can roll on and be available for everyone.
So Matt,
go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I was hoping that, because I don't want to. Can you roll it back really high level and give us kind of like a high level timeline of where you guys are at in the process of rolling out the platform? I mean, sounds like you guys have got some basis done, and you're about to do an NFT drop that you can use on the platform. But if you don't mind, just kind of going through it in your own words, I'd like to high level go over where you're at.
Yeah, sure. So I'll backtrack a little bit so people understand where we arrived. So we had the original idea. We were going to launch straight away with a chain agnostic backend, which was fully backed by IBM and all that kind of stuff. The guys on the tech side pivoted a little bit because we figured that we need to have a quicker go-to-market strategy based on those functions as well. So at first we looked at an ERC 1155 full asset store backend, and that was glorious. I was super excited about that. And then we realized, hang on, that's not going to fit for the first model. So that's parked for stage 2. The stage 1, where we are now, is we have the games in terms of the battle mode and the tournament, basically in alpha mode or alpha stage. And there's a bit of work for them to be completed. And so we had a game studio that we were working with, and their capacity wasn't quite at the level that we were moving. So the game side of things from them hasn't moved at the direction and speed that we were hoping. We've actually pivoted, and we're using, we're about to start using a new game studio that is going to cost a lot more money. Just saying that. But they're significantly higher quality. I can't name drop yet because we haven't signed, but I can tell you the community will be really excited about who it is and what they've done. So that will happen in the sense that we've had to make some decisions about what we're doing, based not really on cost, but based on timelines and how things link up. So to answer your question probably more succinctly, John, the NFT collection is due next week. Next week, I expect that we will start to put up links and availability for people to buy merch as well. So that's that side. The game is in alpha now, but we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks for the minimum lovable product for the battle mode. And what that'll actually be is it'll be the Web3 integration, and it'll be a much more polished look and feel to a more production quality version of the battle mode with the alpha moves blended in. Because at the moment, the existing alpha version of the game doesn't have the alpha moves, and it's a little bit clunky. It doesn't feel the way that we had intended it to. So that's going to get built out. My expectation is 2 to 3 weeks that'll be done. And the other thing is we're waiting on the audit coming back for our various contracts. So there's the in-game currency, there is the WPY farms, and there's another one which I can't really remember right now. That's coming back. My expectation is next week, early next week, that comes back, and then we can provision all the contracts. So realistically, we're looking at 3 weeks to have the full functionality available for the NFTs to be able to battle. And then beyond that, it'll be from here, I would say, as in like from right now, it would be about a month and a half before those tournaments are ready. Now, I'm seriously excited for these tournaments because of the psychological interplay that comes with it and the game theory in behind preventing collusion. Because you want collusion, but you also need to be able to balance it. So there's been a huge amount of thought go into how these tournaments need to work and how they're going to be balanced. And I'm really excited to see how it works kind of as a social experiment, because the really interesting thing about where we're headed is obviously, I mean, with the champion model and how this is all going to work, the greater vision of this is to involve guilds. And those guilds, they pool money together essentially for a cooperative outcome, and they might have a group of champions that are working for them, etc. One of the bigger plays here is to have guild wars. So the guild wars would fight against each other with their champions in a greater model. And basically, when we get to that stage, we want to have like a 15 ape table. So it'll be 15 people on the table. And you'll have, in this example, you might have 4 guilds that are battling it out. and they each have 3 representatives on that actual table that are fighting it out. And where the rewards come in is it's based on a team effort rather than an individual effort. So this would create a really interesting dynamic where if you have one of your team members go out early, you know, the kind of the burden and the responsibility of carrying the rest of the team falls to those 2 people that then have to finish much higher to bring the average up. So it's kind of like DCA ranking across, you know, this tournament gamified experience where the rewards are based on team effort in a non-cooperative game where collusion is possible but kind of punished. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that comes together. I'm most excited about that. But the here and now is, you know, we've got the NFTs coming out next week, and then 2 weeks after that, roughly, we're going to be looking at the battle mode being available with the WPY farms, and then I would say 2 to 4 weeks after that, the full tournament structure and the automatic matchmaking, multi-table balancing will be available for the tournaments. And at that stage, we'll be running like a whole heap of different competitions. And then actually beyond that, we have, I'd say, another two weeks after that. We then have all of our free rolls that integrate into the kind of like a bridge between the play to earn and the grind to earn models. So yeah, that gives you a bit of an idea.
And that, thanks, Matt. And that grind to earn model, it means you can come play the game for free as well.
Yes, and so I don't know. I'm not sure how many people or viewers that are watching understand the play to earn model, you know, at the depth that it exists. But basically, most play to earns that are in crypto are kind of pay to earn. There's a barrier for entry, and there's usually you know, there's a ceiling because they have a very specific model, you know, which, you know, in terms of being able to play, understand, deploy, is very good. But it means it has a ceiling because if your cost to get in is tied to the token, then that's going to inflate, which means that less people can get in over time, and that saturates and creates a ceiling. So there's a lot of models like this where the play to earn side of things is more pay to earn. But you take, for example, Axie and their success. So you have a very specific model with specific mechanics, 2 different types of currencies, and what's really made them flourish is the scholar model, because you have people that have you know, quite significant value in illiquid assets that they have these you know, these axes that they can breed, etc. But a lot of people, they buy into it, they want a team, they don't want to do the work. So what happens is you know, they farm it out using scholars, and it has, you know, 60% of their player base is from the Philippines, and these people don't have a great amount of money. So you know, that's a credit to the way that it's all working. But essentially, there's really no other providers that are doing this kind of model, or a model that allows no barrier for entry. So we've looked at it and decided that it's really important in what we're trying to achieve to be able to bring people in that have basically no experience with crypto if necessary, but very, very little amount of money. So the grind to earn model caters directly for these people with a secondary in-game currency called seeds. And the seeds allow them to, well, anyone really, to get familiar with the games and get good at them, and do that for free. I think it's really important. So the seeds, if you earn enough seeds and you're actually, you want to have a crack at the ranked games, you can play the ranked games. Now, the leaderboards and rankings are really important because that's where you're going to be, you know, that's where you're going to find your champions. The champions are going to be they're going to be pulled essentially from that leaderboard. So if you're doing really well at the free games, people who have NFTs, they're going to select you based on your performance. If you're performing really well and consistently winning, then you will be chosen as a champion to represent someone on the WPY farms, and you'll have an opportunity to earn a percentage of their yield, every time. So that's why this is really important, is because you have a model that incentivizes people to learn how to play. And if they do well, they get chosen as champions, and then they can earn themselves. So for people like, over in Philippines where, they don't have a lot of money, there is actually no risk in this at all. You get acquainted with a game, and if you do well, you get chosen as a champion, and then you can earn quite, significant potential value just from using someone else's money and playing this game. So, that's kind of pretty amazing. And then when we shift across to, the greater model and how it relates to the play to earn side of things, you can play the ranked games. And if you actually do really well, there are credit rewards there, and you can start building up your credit portfolio and getting more into the play to earn side of things. So the ranked games, along with the free rolls, create a bridge between, the seeds and the grind to earn model, and the credits and the play to earn model.
Man.
Yeah, you got
everything covered on this thing.
It's really in depth. There's a lot of mechanics going on there. So when you guys first launched, just to take it back again, when you first launch, the NFTs that you guys are about to launch, those images, those assets are actually going to be sitting at that table in the game. Is that the idea? In the battle royale, you actually be able to see the NFTs there, or no? They're not really related.
Oh yeah, no, you can. So those NFTs, they're actually player icons. So when you're sitting in the game, it'll show up those NFTs, like your specific NFT will show up as your player icon on the left-hand side there.
Okay, cool.
So there'll be other collections that will be specific assets that will come up in game, and a lot of those will be in-game accessories and those sorts of things that you can flex, or you can have animated, and they'll do different things inside the model. So what you're seeing here, and people can't see it moving because it's just a screenshot, but it is that's kind of like the pre-alpha version. The additional version will have lots of particles and sprites and textures and all of this different VFX and stuff based on the type of in-game accessory it is and the level. So if you have a really high level accessory, it might have additional functionality or effects over the top of it, which will be present, both in game and also, in marketplaces and those sorts of things. So, taking account of the, somewhat $15 billion gaming skins, industry at the moment, it's really important that we provide lots of interesting ways for people not just to buy the skins and in-game accessories and those sorts of things, but to use them. One of the reasons why it's so big is that CS:GO and Fortnite, all these different games, you can buy a skin and you apply it, and then it's kind of flexing. It's like, I got the skin, and everyone can see it. It's really cool. So we take that model and we apply it in here. We also NFTify it in that sense, because if you don't want that skin anymore, if you decide it's a really good time to sell it, you can flick it on our marketplace and get something else. Or you might pull another one that you really like out of a loot box, and you decide, well, I've got enough. I'll just get rid of this one. I'll flick it across. So we've really thought a lot about how the ecosystem will work, what people will want to be doing, their potential behaviors, and we've really worked hard on how we can involve everyone, in the sense that even the grind to earners, when they hit certain levels, in terms of the leaderboards or in ranked games, if they win, those sorts of things, they can exchange those credits for loot box tokens, and you just never know what you're going to get from those loot boxes. So they call VRF, like Chainlink VRF. Mm-hmm. We're really excited to be working in depth with them on a variety of different things. And that VRF call pulls down, the NFT rotation model, and then they get, randomized drop from that loot box. And inside that, they might get, some kind of custom NFT, might get in-game accessories, a whole suite of different things that they might get. But there's a chance, that something in there might be extremely valuable. So the loot boxes are going to be pretty amazing for people that are on the grind to earn model, being able to convert into that. And then because the marketplace will drive so much demand for in-game use, along with applications, how they're going to function with competitions, events, and all that kind of stuff, that dynamic and those trends are constantly going to change. So, the concept here is to create a really multifaceted, depth-based ecosystem where you have these multi-parties from all walks of life, all wallet-based, spend values and budgets, skill-based levels, interests in either playing the game or not playing the game, and give them ways to interact together, economic models, and different outcomes that they can enjoy and get value from, psychologically as well as financially. So a lot of work has gone into it, huge amounts of work. And we're about, we're pretty much coming up on 4 months, I think it is, since we launched. And so much has evolved. We've got a team of 20 guys now, or actually guys and girls, I should say. Jeez. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't be happy with the team we've got. Everyone's pulling together, doing a great job. And where we're headed is just, it's just going to be amazing, because we'll be the only guys essentially that are doing this in this way. And hopefully we can provide a lot of real value for people over a very long period of time.
And the fun starts October the 21st. You heard it here first, Matt. From you.
That's it, Rob. Nailed it.
Man, Matt, y'all got a lot going on here.
You do have a lot going on.
You got a lot going on here. What's your background? How did you where did the idea spark from? And you said you had 20 people on the team. How many people were on the team to start with? And where have you gone?
You've always got the great questions, John. I have to applaud you for that. So my background, there are two sides to this. There's the professional side, and then there's the recreational side. So my professional side, I've been in tech, I think 17 years. Well, actually it's more than that. It's 18 or 19 years professionally now. Mainly in infrastructure, technology. So, all the Microsoft stuff, domains, and then moving into cloud. And then I was sort of tech lead for a lot of different implementations and upgrades and those things. And then moved heavily into project management the last sort of 4 years before I moved into crypto full time. We're essentially doing enterprise project management for SaaS and digital transformation project for multinationals. So it was pretty big. I learned a lot. It was really high stress and high pressure. And I'm so happy to be in crypto now because it's just the best. But yeah, I learned a lot from that side professionally, a lot about structure and, things like agile models, Spotify scaling, all the workflows and data structures and, all the really high-end enterprise stuff was really, really valuable. So I'm grateful for that. On the recreational side, I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer at heart. I grew up playing games from when I was very young, and I did have a bit of a break where I was really, obviously hamstrung with corporate stuff, doing 70 hours a week. But I love my games. I really love real-time strategy, so that's kind of my forte. I was playing StarCraft 1 back on dial-up modem.
Hell yeah.
Playing, Koreans that were absolutely kicking my ass. Excuse the French.
Rob, I think Rob still plays StarCraft.
I still play StarCraft. StarCraft 2.
You're kidding.
StarCraft 2. Hey, StarCraft 2, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I played a bit of SC2, a couple of months ago, and realized that I need to watch some. I watched some strategy videos because the strategies I used to use don't work anymore. But But yeah, I love. This is kind of where some of the rock paper scissors, came from. Because when I was playing StarCraft, you had concussion, and you had these different types of attacks and modifiers, and that really determined the battle, because it was all about counters. Someone comes with dragoons, well, you're going to get your zealots on them, or your zerglings. That's the kind of thing. It's that fascinates me, because how do dragoons not beat zerglings? This is just nonsense. But that side of things, I just love games. Small segue there. So we have 3 founders. We're all gamers. We all love our games. So that's me and my background. Then we have Dan, who's our CTO, and he has he has a very strong background in computer science. I'm not sure he's got a bachelor or master's, but he's really amazing with Solidity. He's got some really, really awesome understanding and ideas, and he's probably has to be up there with one of the best people, to my knowledge, in terms of being able to articulate very complicated technical things in a really good fashion that people can understand. So he's played a lot of games himself, and he's also done a lot of work in Solidity, and he brings a lot of value to the team, and really happy to have Dan on board. Then we got Lockie. So Lockie has a really diverse background in games, but his strengths come from the creative side. So he's essentially our creative director, and he's got really good eye for aesthetics. So all the website stuff that you see is all Lockie written all over it. And what his background is, I think he's just finishing he's 2 weeks away from actually finishing his master's in architectural design. I think it is architectural design. So he has a really good foundation of working with 3D software and all this kind of stuff, which gave us a really excellent launch pad to gain an understanding into what was required from the asset side for building games and these sorts of things. So between us 3, we have a really diverse history in technical and gaming, and the creative side, the technical side, and then I have the business side. And how this all comes together is all 3 of us kind of are across every single area as a unit, and there's kind of nothing that we don't, that we're not able to look at and resolve, which is it's really good. We work really well as a team. And in one aspect, we were given a day and a half to fill out this enormous questionnaire. I won't mention what it's for, but we were given a day and a half, and with no notice, right? So we filled this thing out. It ended up being a 24-page document, and it was just massive. But we on a whim, we pivoted and we got it done. And it's testament, to the guys, because I've had to do that, for the last 15, 20 years. I'm used to that. But the guys did it really well. We kind of just parked things, we moved, we shifted. So that was extremely reassuring for me, because we got it done. We got it done well. High quality result.
Oh, so you guys. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so there are literally too many wonderful people to mention in depth, but we have a marketing team, we have a 3D design team, we have a community management team. We put in endless hours, and very grateful to have so many wonderful, patient, empathetic people on board to deal with our community, as they have countless questions and impatiently waiting for us to moon. We have also DB developers and additional Solidity developers, front-end people. So we have a really diverse range of people, and they're just people that have come in, either through our direct connects or through our greater network, or in the case of community, they've just been contributing to the community and said, hey, can I be on the mod team? And as their track records spoke for themselves, it's like, well, why wouldn't we? So I'm really, really happy with the team, with where it's at. And this team will need to expand, quite rapidly in the future. So we will need, my estimation is by the end of the year, we'll more than double with where we are right now. It will expand quite rapidly. So exciting times that we live in, and in some cases, expansions create more problems than they solve. But without pain, there is no growth. And without growth, there is no pain. So you got to be prepared for both if you want to move forward or not.
So you guys are have a diverse skill set. You guys are nimble and willing to pivot, and your team is growing and expanding. For you personally, I don't know if I didn't pick it up. When did you first get into crypto specifically? When did you decide to leverage the blockchain? When did that happen?
Great question. So 2017 was the first introduction I had. One of my friends was buying and selling Ethereum on eToro and made an absolute killing. And I was like, what is this stuff?
Okay.
And being, a tech, I was intensely interested in it straight away. And I was like, how do I shift my entire life to this? How do I do this? How do I do this? So I became fascinated with the technology, and whilst I've done a whole bunch of scripting and stuff, Solidity is something that I haven't dove into, on the coding front. I figured my talents are best spent in other ways, but I really became fascinated with how it worked. So consensus mechanisms and where it was all heading. The problems that it could solve, and getting a greater understanding of why you would use it rather than, what specifically it is. So in 2020, I took a course and became a certified solution architect for blockchain through Blockchain Training Alliance. Really like those guys, good content. And yeah, in 2018, I started trading it, getting my butt kicked by the market, like really hard. It taught me a lot. And, in the end of 2020, I decided that, the existing autocratic structure of corporate enterprises wasn't really for me, and created this idea, essentially, well, I initially had this idea in 2018, but putting pen to paper and crafting out, the actual concepts and how it ties in was pretty much February, March, and then we started getting the team together in April, and then we launched, token event 24th June. So, I've been kind of learning the ropes, for the last 2-3 years. And I've been involved in a few different projects, advisory and, just helping out, doing some roadmap stuff. But this is the first real jump, for me. I have a long list of ideas, which, many of them will incorporate into what we're doing with BAS. But some are completely different models and concepts, which I'd like to investigate with at some point. But to be honest, the market is not ready. They're not ready for some of these concepts. And that's what's really important for anyone watching is, you need to have a product ready when the market is ready. Because if you miss it, there's no point. But if you're too early, guess what? There's no point. you need a product and a market at the same time. It's all about timing. So we're lucky because NFTs and the play to earn side of things is exploding. I'd say we've got another 5 years of massive expansion before something else disrupts it. Inevitably, it will happen. But yeah, we've got a good 5 years before it becomes, massively saturated and someone decides there's a better way of doing it. And yeah, it's exciting, with all of the different options. And I just want to say, you know, we don't view ourselves as competitors in this space. We are aggregators. We're more than open to working with other projects, whether it be NFTs. Obviously, the more NFTs, the better. But inter-platform gaming between our ecosystem and other ecosystems is 100% we're all for. So if there's any projects that are watching that are interested in, you know, collaborating, maybe our NFTs go on your platform, maybe yours go on ours. Maybe our characters show up in your game modes. Maybe you port one of your game modes across to our platform. Let's collaborate, because the space, it's all about getting MAU, which is monthly active users. You get monthly active users, we get monthly active users. And the more that happens, the more exposure there is, the more turnover there is. And, you know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see where that heads. So, yeah, collaborations and inter-platform stuff is something we're really passionate about and working towards. And also working with, you know, as many quality game studios as possible to look at their options and how we can help them, you know, get onboarded into crypto and blockchain.
We're actually having an interview later this evening with the OP Games and the Arcadians team.
Yeah, those guys are doing some really cool stuff with HTML5.
Yeah, and their launch is tomorrow. So we're doing a video actually tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Time here. Yeah,
I think they've done really well. And tell them I said hello, because they seem like they've done some really cool stuff.
Cool team. I'll make an intro for you if you like.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like their model. It's really clear, and it looks like they're doing some great work on their SDK. And yeah, you know, they're doing a great job. So yeah, hats off to them.
Yeah, the space is definitely not zero. Oh,
any closing thoughts, John? Sorry, John.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was gonna say it's definitely not zero-sum space, for sure.
Yeah, it's all about collaboration, building everybody up, getting that active users and stuff built up. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, and I mean, there's so much room for growth. Crypto itself is still so early. Like, everyone in here is so early.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, like,
good morning.
It's fantastic.
That's right.
We should all be really just happy and grateful that we have this opportunity, and we should just be helping each other. And that's one of the things that I think is really important is, you know, no one should be cutting anyone down in this space. We need to work together to build it and to build it up, make it safe, get people educated, you know, and we want to collaborate with people that want to do that as well. So that's an open invitation for anyone, for anything that is helpful.
Rob,
yeah.
Rob, let me ask one more before he goes. Before he closes it down, this is important because I think a lot of people tuned in, and a lot of people are probably wondering. This question's been in the back of my mind. The NFT you guys are about to drop, how integral or important will it be for your platform and the mechanics of your platform? Is it basically just a cool thing to have for a rep, or is this going to be something that's built in, important, that people should really take notice of going forward? Can our viewers, really zero in on this thing? Do we need to play the gas wars?
Great question. Great. You're on the money with this stuff, John. Honestly, hats off. So this particular collection will premiere as being one of, if not the most collection, sort of, important collections, because it's the first one that comes out, which is linked directly to the game and also to the farms. And we will be targeting a numerous amount of experiments in terms of competitions, giveaways, and all these types of things based on this collection. So there'll be a lot of activity, a lot of opportunities for people to earn. And because this is the first one, all of our different game modes and different games we're working with other companies and those sorts of things, they will base their integrations and inter-game collaborations for NFTs based on this one. So just to put it out there, it's probably going to have the most utility long term until something else that is purpose built for a specific product knocks it off the perch, which I don't think will be immediately. Like maybe it might be 6 months. So there's a good 6 months of growth there before there are any potential changes, which gives people a lot of different opportunities to earn. And that means it will also significantly grow in value. And it'll continue to grow in value, actually. Because there'll always be utility for these NFTs. And they'll always have some earning capacity. And they're probably, I don't know if we're going to make them the only ones that have the earning capacity, but there will still always be an opportunity to earn with these ones. So in terms of a sustainable ecosystem, if there is no room for another NFT set to be an ever-present figure to earn, then this one will always figure and be the only one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think if I hear you correctly, and this isn't financial advice, you're saying buy this NFT.
Well, there's what I can say is it presents an excellent opportunity for mid to long term growth of some kind of financial instrument. That would be a technical way of saying it. I'll certainly be letting a few people know that it presents an opportunity, a good opportunity. And I think more to the point, as it expands, you're going to want to be building out your team of champions. And in the initial case, this will be the only ones that the champions apply to as well. So there are numerous reasons you would want these NFTs, not purely for their ability for function, but also their ability to earn. There's a lot of good things there.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. And
great.
We're going to have you back on here because I've got, a host of other questions, but we'd be going for hours more. I promise you.
I'm kind of surprised because we said we were going to hit that 20-25 minute mark.
We kept rolling.
And just kept going. Look, it's probably my words just keep coming out, but I've really enjoyed our discussion today, and thanks for having me on, and thanks for everyone watching. I really hope that you get something out of this, but very much looking forward to our next video and stream, and we can get into some other details.
Yeah,
I love it, man. We'll have you back on before that October 1st drop. We'll go ahead and talk about that before it happens. I posted the Discord into the chat. Anyone wants to find it out, go to blockapescissors.com. You also have their Twitter flashing up here too. Matt, thank you very much for the time, man. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to having you back. Thank you very much for coming on, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, John. All the best, everybody. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.